Mankind likes to believe that there are no monsters, that we have always ruled the world. It is not so. One more good day, then she would end it. Jamie had never been a happy person. Some people lived charmed lives. They had love and money and families that cared about them. Life gave them chances, helped them out. They could get anything they wanted with just a little work, if they had to work at all. Then there were people like Jamie. Some people didn't have families that cared. They didn't get boyfriends who'd treat them right or friends that could be trusted. They didn't get chances, and Lady Luck would curb stomp them every time they tried to get somewhere. Some people were just doomed to misery no matter how hard they tried. Jamie had tried. She had tried so hard. Sometimes it even felt like she was getting somewhere, that life might get better. Life hadn't gotten better. It was worse now than she even imagined. Jamie was more miserable than she'd ever been, but that's not why she was going to kill herself. It was just something she had to do. Jamie's good days started with a nice shower. She styled her hair and put on her best makeup. She wore her favorite dress, a clingy little blue thing with little clouds on it. Jamie wasn't the prettiest girl in the world, but she wasn't ugly. She had long chestnut hair and big brown eyes. She was tall and lean with an athletic build that came from running as a hobby. She was cute enough in regular clothes, but in a cloud dress, she could really turn some heads. Pleased with her appearance, Jamie got in her beat-up old Pontiac. It was an older model. It was missing its front fender. The Pontiac had been bright yellow at one point, but the paint was faded and chipped. It was colored more like urine than sunshine. It also whined and clicked ominously when she drove the thing. The engine shook half the time. Jamie would have liked to get it fixed, but she didn't have the cash. Jamie putt-putted her way to her favorite restaurant. It was a little diner just off the highway, a cozy little place that served comfort food in large portions. The waiters were friendly and usually handsome, and the place always had old country music playing in the background. Jamie had arrived exactly on time, but her friends were early. They had already had a booth. Shannon jumped up when she saw Jamie. She shouted her name and rushed over. Shannon was short and a bit overweight. Her hair was originally blonde, but she dyed it a different color every week or so. Today it was pink with red highlights. Her eyes were brown and bloodshot. Shanna was usually high, and today was no exception. Shanna wrapped herself around Jamie with a big grin and a big hug. "It's so good to see you," she gushed. Jamie's other friend approached her more slowly. She had a concerned look on her face. Kelly was average height, with blonde hair and big blue eyes and a body that made Jamie feel inadequate. Kelly waited for Shanna to let Jamie go, then gave a quick but tight hug of her own. "We've been worried about you," she said. "I'm okay," Jamie lied. She took a seat in the booth. I'm okay." The waiter came by. He was handsome enough that Jamie decided to give him her phone number on the way out. Jamie ordered a Coke and breakfast. Once he left, Shanna turned to Jamie. "I'm so sorry about Keith." Jamie nodded. Tears welled up. Her boyfriend had been dead for a month, but Jamie wasn't even close to over it. She never would be. She took a breath, trying not to keep the tears from falling. "Thank you." Shanna leaned forward, eyes eager. "So was it Danny?" "Shanna!" Kelly chided. "What?" Shanna gave Kelly a look. "You want to know as bad as me." "You don't just..." Kelly sputtered. She turned to Jamie. "I'm sorry. You know how Shanna is." "Yeah, I do." Jamie let out a breath. "Danny didn't do it." "Are you sure?" Shanna pressed. "I mean, he kicked your door down just a couple days before." Danny had been Jamie's fiancé once upon a time, a tribute to her terrible taste in men. Her friends had warned her, had tried to talk her into leaving, but he put her in the hospital twice before she did anything about it. 2 arrests and a restraining order later, Danny still wouldn't leave her alone. Jamie thought she was safe after Keith stepped in. Danny was good at beating up women, but he'd pissed his pants at the thought of fighting another man. For 3 glorious weeks, Jamie had been safe. Well, safe from Danny. That had changed the night Danny kicked in her door. The bastard had been methed out of his mind, yelling and muttering about how he was going to make Jamie his. He'd done a bunch of things Jamie didn't want to think about. She'd regained consciousness an hour later with cracked ribs, a broken nose, and a horrific number of bite marks. She'd called the cops, of course. They did what they always do. They'd taken a report. Nothing else had come of it as far as Jamie knew. It wasn't Danny, Jamie repeated. Keith was eaten. The cops think it was a bear or something. A bear? Kelly looked dubious. Why would a bear be in the middle of town? How should I know? Jamie demanded. I wasn't there. She shuddered, remembering the mostly eaten corpse that had once been her boyfriend. He was eaten, Kelly. The cops showed me. Most of his body was gone. Eaten? Shanna leaned even closer, eyes wide. Really? You saw it? It's not cool, Shanna, Jamie glowered at the woman. Nothing about this is cool. Stop getting excited about it. Oh, come on, Jamie, Shanna whined. This is the most exciting thing that's ever happened in this town. There are rumors flying everywhere. If it had been my boyfriend... Shut up, Shanna, Kelly cut her off. Jamie's right. You're being a dick. It's all right, Jamie lied. It's all right. What happened to Keith? She shook her head. I don't know. It's awful. I thought he might be the one, you know? Keith had definitely not been the one. Jamie had loved him like she'd loved most of her boyfriends, but he hadn't exactly been marriage material. He'd been a mean, selfish, violent dickhead, also like most of Jamie's boyfriends. She still missed him. Losing him still hurt. It was just... Jamie wasn't sure how much of that was love and how much was the trauma of waking up on her boyfriend's half-eaten corpse. I'm just glad you weren't there when it happened, said Kelly. Jamie tried to play it cool, but her friend must have caught a flicker of expression. Kelly's eyes narrowed suspiciously. You weren't there, right? I don't think I'd be here if I was, Jamie told her. I saw his trailer after it happened. The place was tore up. There was blood all over the place. Whatever killed him it was bad. So it really was a bear, Shanna frowned. Did they catch it? No, Jamie shook her head. I don't think so. The whole thing is really weird, said Shanna. Her eyes lit up again. Maybe it wasn't a bear. Maybe Danny's a cannibal now. A cannibal with claws and big sharp teeth? Jamie raised an eyebrow. It could happen, Shanna insisted. I'm just glad you're okay, Kelly cut in. Her face radiated sympathy and friendly concern. Jamie would have been grateful if she hadn't known it was bullshit. Kelly loved drama and gossip even more than Shanna did. She'd also been sleeping with Keith. Jamie suspected both of them had, but Kelly was the only one dumb enough to let Keith record it on his phone. Jamie was struck by an overwhelming urge to slap the shit out of Kelly. She forced it down. Shanna and Kelly were all Jamie had, the only people in the world that cared about her. If this was the last time she would see them, she didn't want to ruin it with a fight. Eventually, the girls changed the subject. Food was served, gossip was exchanged, and jokes were made. It was a nice brunch, mostly, like old times. Jamie hugged her friends one more time before they parted ways. She was tempted to say goodbye, to hint at what she was planning. She didn't. Jamie would have liked it if someone had noticed what she was planning, but she didn't want to be stopped. Okay. She did want to be stopped. It was just that she knew she shouldn't. Jamie sat in her car for a minute after brunch. A quick text exchange, determined her next destination. Brad was reluctant to leave his job early, but Jamie knew how to change his mind. She met him at his place. Jamie had never dated Brad. He was a loser even by her standards. He was, however, a fantastic booty call. This time might have been the best sex she'd ever had. He certainly seemed to think so. The guy straight up said he was in love with her at the end. Jamie told him he was sweet and got out of there fast, feeling pleased with herself. The next stop was the grocery store. Jamie splurged on a cheesecake, a big bottle of sake, and some orange juice. She took her bounty home. Jamie hummed her way up the stairs and into the hallway that led to her apartment. Her good mood soured instantly at the sight of the police officer standing in front of her door. Jamie hated police. She hated them the way she hated spiders and snakes. Jamie was pretty law-abiding. She didn't steal or do drugs or anything, but the sight of a cop always set her pulse pounding. She'd interacted with the cops maybe a dozen times in her life, and not one of those times had been pleasant. Jamie thought about turning around. She might have done just that if one of the cops hadn't noticed her. He stepped forward, saying, "Hey, do you live here?" Should she lie? No. Bad idea. Why would she be there with groceries if it wasn't where she lived? Yes? The other policeman approached. "Let's see some ID." Jamie hesitated. She was pretty sure she wasn't required to show ID, but saying no to a cop was not a smart thing to do. "Hold on." She set her bags down and dug through her purse until she found her driver's license. The cop looked it over. He was a big dude. Big arms, big gut. His head was shaved and he had a big bushy blonde mustache. His uniform was a little wrinkly. The man looked over the ID, then passed it to his partner. "She's the one." The other cop was average height, built lean. His uniform was perfectly pressed. His hair and mustache were dark and perfectly trimmed. "Jamie Wisen?" said the man. "We're looking for Danny Mitchell. Have you seen him?" "Danny?" Jamie frowned and shook her head. "No, not since last month." "Have you heard from him?" the shorter cop pressed. "If I had, I would have called you," Jamie told him. "I've got a restraining order." "Danny didn't show up to his court date," the bigger cop told her. "We got a warrant for his arrest." "Good," said Jamie. "We thought he might be here with you," the big guy continued. "What?" Jamie tried not to scowl, but she couldn't keep the irritation out of her voice. "The last time I saw Danny, he kicked my door down and beat the shit out of me. Why would I let him anywhere near me?" "It happens more often than you'd think," the cop told her. He jerked his head at the door. "You want to let us in? Make sure he's not there?" "He's not," Jamie assured him. "And no, I'm not letting you in." "We'll come back with a warrant if we need to," the shorter cop warned. "Do it then." Jamie held her hand out. "Can I have my driver's license back, please?" "You'd best watch that attitude, little lady," the big cop rumbled, "or you're gonna have a bad night." The threat sent a chill up Jamie's legs. It also pissed her off. She took a deep breath. Calm. You have to be calm when you talk to the cops. "Can I have my driver's license back, please?" Jamie repeated. The shorter cop handed it over. "Look, Jamie, just let us in. We'll take a quick look and make sure your ex isn't in there waiting for you. Everybody wins." "We're not going to be so nice about it if we have to go get a warrant and come back," the tall, angry cop warned. Jamie scowled. She really didn't want to let the cops into her apartment. Not because she had anything to hide. She just didn't like them. On the other hand, they could easily come back with a warrant, and they'd probably go out of their way to make a mess. More importantly, Jamie had plans. Important plans. Plans that could go very wrong if the police showed up at the wrong time. "Fine." Jamie let out an annoyed huff. She dug out her keys and unlocked the door. She had to jiggle the door a little to get the lock to work. The landlord had made her buy the new door herself, and he'd done a crap job of installing it. She got the stupid thing open and stepped back with a sarcastic, welcoming gesture. "Have a look." The cops were quick about it. She'd give them that much. They checked the rooms and poked around for about a minute, then came back out. "All clear," said the shorter cop with a smile. "Thank you for your cooperation." "Can I go in now?" Jamie asked. She tried to keep the fury out of her voice. She was only partially successful. "Knock yourself out," said the tall, angry one. He took in her expression and smirked. "You have a good night now, you hear?" Jamie slid past the men without another word. She closed the door and locked it. Then she took a few moments to rest her head against the wall and let her heart slow down. Bastards. Jamie didn't let herself ruminate too long. This was supposed to be a good day. It was a good day, damn it. She poured herself some sake, mixed in some orange juice. She checked the time. The moon wouldn't be up for another 5 hours. 5 hours. She'd better make them count. Jamie cooked up her favorite dinner. Lunch? It was only 2 p.m. Whatever. Jamie made her favorite meal. She took her time eating it. Then she plopped down in front of the TV with popcorn and more booze. She watched her favorite movie. The sake was all gone by the time the movie ended. Jamie was well and truly drunk. Good. It was time. She stumbled into her bathroom. She filled the tub, added Epsom salts and bubbles. She set her cell phone to play her favorite mix and sank into the water. The bath was not as relaxing as Jamie had hoped. Her pulse was racing. She couldn't stop thinking about what she was about to do. Jamie didn't want to die. Yeah, her life sucked, but she still didn't want to. She just knew she couldn't live like this. It was Danny's fault. He'd bitten her. Jamie had seen plenty of werewolf movies. She knew how it worked. You got bit, and then you became a werewolf. Danny must have gotten himself bit. Then he'd bitten her. It was ridiculous. Werewolves weren't supposed to be real. They sure as hell weren't supposed to be her meth head ex. But there it was. Jamie had been snuggling with Keith when the change took her. She hadn't understood what was happening at the time. She still didn't remember most of it. Just flashes. Screams, the taste of blood and meat, a feeling of pure, primal rage. She'd woken up on top of him, naked, with a belly full of boyfriend. Jamie couldn't let that happen again. She spent the last month desperately looking for a solution. The internet had been unhelpful. Jamie supposed she could just go out to the woods every full moon, get as far away from people as she could. The problem with that was twofold. First, she wasn't sure she could find anywhere that didn't have people in it. Hikers, campers, dumb teenagers looking for a place to make out. If there was another person anywhere near where she changed, Jamie would eat them. She was pretty sure. The second problem was consistency. Jamie could do her best, but there was no way her broke ass would make it out of town every full moon for the rest of her life. Her car would break down, or she'd run out of gas, or she'd get arrested. Something. If she was smart and careful, Jamie might go years without eating anyone, but not forever. Locking herself in her apartment would have the same problem. Not that she had the money to rig herself a giant cage or anything. That left one option. Jamie didn't like it, but it was the best she could do. She let herself soak for a few minutes, then grabbed the knife. She steeled herself, then slid the blade across her wrist. It hurt, but not as bad as she feared. She did the other wrist, then put both arms under the water. She didn't want to see. Jamie laid her head back down, sinking as far in the water as she could without getting it on her face. It was done. She was done. The bubbles were helping, but they couldn't hide the fact that the water was turning pink. God, this whole thing was so surreal. Why? Why did this have to happen? Jamie started to cry. She let it happen. She deserved that much. She sobbed quietly as the music played. The water darkened, turned red. Jamie started to feel weak. Her face felt cold. She wanted to panic, to leap out of the tub and get herself an ambulance. She didn't. She just lay there listening to the music. After a time, her eyes grew heavy. Jamie let them drift closed. The water was cold when Jamie woke up. Her eyes fluttered open. What the hell? She wasn't supposed to wake up. Did she do it wrong? Most of the bubbles in Jamie's bath were gone. The water was bright arterial red. Jamie sat up and looked at her wrists. The wounds had closed. There was nothing left of the cuts but angry red lines. Shit. Silver, Jamie realized. She should have used silver. Damn it. How could she be so stupid? Jamie climbed out of the tub. Her body felt fine. She definitely didn't feel like she just tried to bleed out. She looked at her knife on the floor by the tub. Should she try again? Stab herself in the carotid, maybe? No. Jamie had barely worked up the nerve to cut herself. Stabbing herself in the neck was not something she could make herself do. It probably wouldn't work anyway. She wasn't sure shooting herself would work any better. Not that she had a gun or the money to buy one. Jamie checked her phone. Panic shot through her. 48 minutes. She had 48 minutes before the moon came up. This was all the time she had to figure out how to die. Not enough time. Jamie needed silver and she didn't have any. She could go shopping, but even if she found some, it wouldn't do her any good. What was she going to do? Stab herself with a spoon from an antique shop? No. Jamie had to go. She had to get out of town. As far away as she could. Jamie toweled off and dressed as quick as she could. She ran out to her Pontiac and set the car in motion. The engine shook and shuddered and squealed, but the car moved. Jamie hit the highway. There was a stretch of national forest just a half an hour out of town. There was no guarantee there weren't people, but it was better than transforming in a populated area. Jamie could make it. She could get there before the change took her. That would give her one more month to figure out how to die. The Pontiac shook worse than Jamie expected. She hadn't really taken the car on the highway in a while. Jamie wasn't a religious person, but she found herself praying anyway. Please, please, God, let her get away before the change took hold.